You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers about hikers for everybody.
This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we hang out and talk about everything from hammocks and hammock camping to the group hangs from around the country. Hey everyone, welcome to the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where we unwind, relax, and delve into all things hammock related. Join us as we swing into the world of hammocks, exploring tips and tricks for setting up that perfect hang, sharing stories of outdoor adventures, and discovering the latest trends in hammock camping and relaxation. Whether you're a seasoned hammocker or new to the art of hanging, this podcast is your cozy corner to kick back, escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and soak in the soothing atmosphere of the hammock culture. Prepare to be inspired, educated, and entertained as we embrace the hammock lifestyle together. So grab your favorite hammock, find that perfect spot to hang, and let's embark on a hammock-filled journey that will leave you feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to take on the world. This is the Hammock Hangers Podcast, where every episode is a breath of fresh air. Let's get started.
Howdy, hangers. Welcome to this week's episode of the Hammock Hangers Podcast. And I have three, not one, not two, but three amazing guests with me. We have three of our friends from the Danish Outdoor Festival that I'm going to introduce as our three Danish Amigos. I'm completely butchering all the cultures with this title, but welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so we have CNN with us. We have Christian, Niels or Nels.
Just Nils, yeah.
Nils, and Nils.
Yeah,
not to be confused with the other Nils that look very different, but
the proper Nils.
The proper Nils
spelled in the right way.
We have Nils and Nils 2.0.
Nils squared.
Nils squared.
Nils from Wish.
The Temu Nils.
Yeah.
Temu Nils. Yeah.
I'll let you guys fight over the Temu title, but yeah.
Oh, we will.
So welcome to the podcast. We're glad to have you guys on. So I met you guys at the Danish Outdoor Festival when we were in Denmark. Incredible time. Like, I'm still talking about it. I got this leather bracelet while I was over there. It has kind of just been on my wrist ever since, just because it was such an amazing time for me. When I discovered that I was going to Denmark back in January, I said, if you would have told me that I would have ended up in a European country in the next 5 years, Denmark probably wouldn't have been even in the top 20, maybe. I don't know, like it, but after going, I can't wait to get back. It's probably been one of my favorite places that I have traveled to. Not just for the scenery, and the food was absolutely amazing, but the people were really, really cool, and just the festival itself. And you guys were part of that experience, so thank you guys for making that experience really great for us. And I was really glad to meet you. And so you guys seemed very on point to kind of the group of misfits that I deal with over here as far as my camping friends go. We had this very similar vibe. So I definitely wanted to have you guys on. Also, just to talk with people that are not necessarily organizers, but really the grassroots of HangCon Europe and what that is. So let's see. So one of you, Nils. Nils
it's
K.
going to be so easy.
We'll just do NK and NV, and then Christian. So Nils K. and I'll kind of do this like if I had multiple names in my classroom. So it's fine. Everything's fine.
That works. We
So
do might have a solution for this, because I know the correct Nils has a other first name, so we can just call him Rasmus.
No.
Okay.
No. You're ruining the vibe.
No, you just want to hang out AJ for not saying Nils and Nils K and Nils V every time.
Like I was thinking we could go by surnames.
You can. I'll be Niels, and you'll just be your surname. Good luck.
Good luck pronouncing it, AJ.
Yeah. With everything that I discovered about the Danish language, which for me was a new thing, because I was like, "Oh, you're Dutch." Like, no, you're not Dutch. No. So, especially being a teacher and having taught reading at the kind of a lower levels, and also having a wife who is significantly better at teaching English than I am, going and seeing and trying to read Danish, which you guys have sounds and characters that the English language simply does not do. And it was kind of funny. I guess it was a lot more funny to you all than it was to me, but me trying to make some of the sounds that I have never had to make in my life was wonderful. It's fine. Everything's fine. And not to say that, also being from the South here in the United States, people may also just confuse that I struggle with English as well. So
I appreciate the draw.
So the time of we're recording, for me, it's around our lunchtime. For you guys, it's dinner time. So it's a little early in the day for me to be drinking, but if I had a few drinks in me, the draw comes out significantly more.
You did mention being from the South, so I'm not sure if it's early, but
It's past 10.
It's past 10.
There's no excuse anymore.
I had my Irish coffee this morning, and I had a just a draw of some Jim Beam. But so Nils K, you were kind of like the catalyst of this kind of group getting the other two into hammock camping. So we will start with you, my friend. So how did you get into camping, and did you start off hammock camping, or what is your origin story as far as your camping experience goes?
Oh man, yeah. I had parents who took me out biking and hiking when I was real young, so it started early. And then I went into teenage years, and I didn't want to be outside at all, to be honest. And it came back probably 2016, 2017. I kickstarted my outdoor adventures hiking the Camino, the French way, long distance hiking in Europe. And from there, it went on to be more primitive or ultralight hiking based, so more minimalistic, less crowded places, more altitude. And I really deep dived into the ultralight game of cutting your toothbrush in half and that sort of thing.
Oh, you became one of those guys.
Yeah, it was a rough patch. Now then I discovered hammocks shortly after that, and I had a cheapo mosquito net integrated bug net hammock off Amazon, I guess. And then I went on to several Hennessy hammocks because I did find some more integration with nature being in a hammock. You were more in the open, less shielded by fabric, to be honest. So yeah, your experience took you to a different perspective, and the comfort was there as well. So after the few the Hennessy hammocks, I got a good deal on a Dutch wear half-wit, and that's when I really experienced lightweight hammock travels or camping and the comfort that comes with a 10 and a half foot hammock. So it really developed from that perspective. And funny thing is with these guys, I know these people from, it's been quite a while back, 12, 14, 15 years. Then there was this dry spell of a time where we didn't really caught up. I guess Christian and Rasmus really knew each other or still talked. And we got back into it by Rasmus really wanting to. Yeah, you became interested in hammocks as well.
Yeah, I was on a motorcycle trip with my dad with a tent that weighed about the same as a Ford F-150 on an air mattress that punctured the first night, and I promised myself I would never do that again.
That sounds like a wonderful experience. I'm sure nobody else has ever had that experience.
Yeah, you think you've experienced back pain until you wake up cold and paralyzed on the ground.
So yeah, I mean, you asked for advice, and I pointed you towards Lesovik right from the get-go, so you spared the cheapo hammocks and really went into a quality piece straight away. And I guess it didn't take long for Christian to notice that he was missing out on something.
It's one Instagram post like, "Oh, Nils and Nils on a trip without me." Nope, not gonna have that.
So had you other Christian and Rasmus have you guys?
Oh, you started something bad.
I started. It just flows. That's not a name that you hear here in the States. So I just have it. I like it.
Deal with.
I mean, you share the same surname as or first name is Fimble.
Yeah.
So it's
I guess you could say I'm famous.
You're kind of famous. You may even be related by first name.
Kind of a big deal, you know.
I think so.
I'm
but
going to
had
be
you guys
pulling royalties from this?
Had you guys gone and tried some of the ultralight stuff as well, or were you guys just more like car camping? You said like motorcycle camping. I know that's not as weight specific, but size and space specific for sure.
Not at all. At least not for me. Like I'm still very new to this. I've now been hammock camping for like 2 years because of these two guys, and we are very good at sharing hobbies and interests. So when you hear Rasmus keep talking about his motorcycle, that's also one of the ways that we've gone out and adventuring, just going on motorcycles, bringing that out. I've also I've always been camping with my parents, but that's been like in a several in a camper van. So I'd never tried hammock camping at all. And I really got the benefit of just having everything tried out. So the first night I was out sharing the first night with those guys, like they brought one of Nils's chameleons, set up under quilt. Everything was just set up. I had like nothing to worry about. I should just relax, try it out. Everything was kind of set up, and we started talking about the flexibility, and everything was just kind of suited, and just like the atmosphere of we could like see each other, like because when I like refer to camping in my mind, it's all about tents, and you like if you go out multiple people in tents, unless you share one tent, it's all these barriers. Like you have to talk at the campfire, and the second you go from the campfire, you go into the tents. Like that's it. That's it for the night. With like hammock camping, you kind of remove those barriers. We like sat out all night until it was like really dark. We just laid in our hammocks with little string lights and just talked shit for hours until somebody did the call. Like, okay, we're going to sleep now. Like, that's it. We need to go to sleep now. So it was just an easy way to transition into it because, like, of course, Nils mentioned like buy the Lesovik starter kit, and I call it a starter kit, but it's a really solid setup from the start. Like, you got a very good hammock, you got an underquilt, and you got a tarp. If you don't have to fool around with all of different kinds of kits. It was extremely easy and inexpensive to get started. Just like buy this and you got everything you need. And then, of course, like any hobbies, once you get into it, it just becomes a rabbit hole of different gear and price points. And well, now I've had the same thing for at least 2 days. Or 2 weeks. I need something new. There also needs to be like a kind of show and tell every time you go on an adventure. Like, yeah, but I bought something new.
I know not of what you speak. I have, yeah. I've had the same setup for years. That's a lie. Speaking
you
of
just
gear,
had several others on the side as well.
minor
But you've
details.
had the same setup for many years.
AJ, what I've heard, you are the rabbit.
I have met people that have a bigger gear selection than I do, but they are really the exception. They're really not the rule.
Also,
I
you
just
run
have
an
gotten.
online store, right?
Yeah, I was thinking, that's got to be a retailer or something.
I think Dutch has more hammocks than I do. Off the top of my head, I am pretty sure Cajun, who is kind of a hammock rep, he reps a lot of the vendors over here. Talking with him, he probably has a bigger collection than I have in total. But again, he gets paid to rep places. I just have become really good at making poor financial choices.
Amen.
I think this year has been kind of the year of the quilts. I've kind of patched up some of the gaps that I had in like my quilt range. I've acquired 2 of the quilts that I have been really, really on my bucket list of getting. I still have one more that I'm still trying to kind of work out and nab, and that's a UGQ top quilt. Talking with Chad, but yeah, that'll probably happen here in the future. But no, my goal this summer was, whenever we go on our trip, I usually take a few setups because you never know when the kids want to hang out, or maybe the wife wants to leave the air conditioned camper. That's not happening, but it's always in my head that they might want to try out, or we meet up with people. Hey, I haven't converted you to hammocks. Have I told you about my Lord and Savior hammocks camping? Kind of discipling other people. So I have that in my head. But honestly, this entire summer, I have used the same setup, the same tarp, the same hammock, the same quilt, the whole 9 yards. And that was my Dutch quilted chameleon, the one that I slept in at the Danish Outdoor Festival as well. Trying to really put that into paces, and I'll probably be doing a gear review on that. Maybe a video. Just needs to get it. It's so hot out here right now. Just to get outside and do something. Just walking the 15 or 16 feet from my door to the car in the morning, I already feel like I need to change a shirt. I'm already so hot and sweaty and muggy. So being able to like get outside and do a video, it's torture. It is absolute torture. And nobody wants to see me hot and sweaty, just even sleeping in a hammock. No.
Bring back the good memories from HangCon Europe.
Nobody needs an AJ hammock OnlyFans. It's just it's not happening.
What happens at HangCon stays at HangCon.
Yeah. But so I use that entire setup. The quilted chameleon, my Loco Libre top quilt. No, I take that back. I only used that one night when it got really, really cold. I have a hammock gear, a 40-degree top quilt, and a War Bonnet Superfly tarp that I used. And I tried to do some things. Also played around with using just ropes and knots and trying to eliminate as much of the hardware as I could, just to see, if I like it. Some things I really, really did. Some things I didn't. But yeah. So so you guys, so how often do you guys go camping kind of together?
Silence. As often as we can, really. Probably is going to be once or twice every 3 months.
Okay.
Of course, more in the spring and more in the autumn, the fall. Because we're all busy in the summer right now. We haven't been on a trip since it's been a few weeks now. We have a fourth buddy who we also converted.
Oh.
So connecting or combining 4 calendars is a real hassle.
I can imagine. Some people have to work. Not all of us have the luxury of just going camping whenever we like. Yeah. School starts for us like next week. So, well, teachers go back next week. So the fun is almost over. But again, like you guys can go camping in the summer and still, your temperatures are still relatively nice.
We need the quilts.
Yeah.
It's mandatory. No, but
So
most
what are
Danish...
we're in the dead of summer right now. What are the temperatures for you guys?
It
hasn't been a great summer, to be honest.
Yeah, it has.
What's not a great summer? Like
high 70s. Yeah, that's peak.
As a high, I hate you all so much.
No, that's not the high, is it? Well, that's 21.
It might creep up to
I hate bald eagle units.
Yeah, but I think like a high 80.
Yeah,
it's like our limit. And a normal summer is usually like around 80. That's a really, really good Danish summer day. Mid 70s is more like the norm.
Yeah, the pulling the current like 1 week, it's averaging 22, 21, but it goes to like 80, mid 80.
So what are your? I would say like during the day the 80s, but it's 80, but it kind of feels like 80. The heat index and stuff is around that same temperature.
Yeah.
So the thing here, like we may only get to 92, but like the heat index is like 153. Okay, maybe not that much, but like it's like unnaturally hot and just soaking wet. What are the lows to at night?
High 50s.
Okay, so what?
Summer.
I really am hating you all right now. that sounds wonderful camping weather. Wonderful camping weather.
Add some rain and you'll second guess it.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I just get just as wet just standing outside sweating as I would in a pouring down rain. So, I mean,
talking about like Danish summers, like you say it's perfect camping weather. Yeah, in the summer it is. So one of the things that like hammock camping like kind of allows us is having like the flexibility with the underquilts to allow us to go out camping even when it's colder, because I feel a lot of Danish people would never go out in like the spring and autumn. Like the second it drops below the 40s, you're not going to see any Danish people in a campground. Like only the hardcore enthusiasts are going to come out in the spring and autumn. So I think it allows us for a lot more trips, especially in the spring and autumn time. Like we just get to get out there because we can still be hot, basically.
Yeah. Shoulder seasons is good. I mean,
it just, and again, like keeping the 4 calendars open, you don't really have anything planned around those times. So it just allows a lot more flexibility compared to if we had been camping any other way. It's just a great time to kind of also socialize, because get out, get to be with your friends, even when the weather's crap and it's raining and it's 30 degrees Fahrenheit, you still get to have a pleasant experience. Which I
getting out and talking with people, especially like because you guys do get quite a bit more rain than we do, so just that dreary kind of feeling. We get a lot of that in winter, and so people are just always kind of bummed and depressed, and kind of feel like they're stuck at home. Being able to get out and do those things kind of is that ray of imaginary sunshine in kind of a overall just bleh kind of weather scene. Now, you've talked about spring and autumn and summer. Do you guys do winter camping, or is it, too cold, or because
I invested
like
in
you guys don't get a lot of snow, correct?
my snow
Not
for a month.
anymore.
Light snow.
We did get. I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers when I was a little girl. We had like 1 meter. Oh, was that 3 feet in freedom units?
Approximately.
Yeah,
Approximately.
so around 1 meter when I was a little girl. But we struggled to get. What's that?
We had a snowstorm this January, to be honest, which really paralyzed the whole public transport nationwide. It lasted for maybe 10 days.
Oh wow! So how much snow are you looking at?
1.5 feet, 2 feet, but it turned to ice and then refroze, kind of thing. So yeah. But we invested in that, or I did. I bought a lavabo and a hot tent oven, so we do go out in winter still. We will all sleep in hammocks, but we will stay in a hot tent during camp.
Yeah, I bought a hot tent this year, and I took it to HangCon just to get set up and see if I would like it. I don't know if I would put like a stove in it, like the kind of defeats the purpose of having a hot tent being hot. But I don't know. I'm just kind of weary of like an open fire in a sill poly structure. Just for me, it doesn't seem like a very pro-life choice, but there are people that do it, and the people that we talked about Fimble. I know he like rocks it. He's got it down to a science. I would do something stupid, and I would probably suffocate myself. So I just really like the fact that you can make the walls all the way down, and you can make your sleeping area kind of pitch black as much as you can, which is something I know my wife really likes. And where we camp at HangCon, we kind of like to stay down the main area, but where we usually set up as far as our inner circle, it's like right under this light that has to stay on for safety reasons or something. But that sucker is bright, and it always just seems to cut right through your tarps to right in your face. But in the hot tent, I was able to completely block that out, and I slept like a baby. Not that it really hinders overall, but yeah. So
I can recommend sleeping masks. Don't mock it.
I just don't like stuff on my face.
Oh, you did at HangCon.
I just even on the plane getting the wraparound pillows or whatever, you kind of keep your like. I don't know. It's just yeah. I mean, I have to wear glasses all the time anyway, so you would think I would be used to it, but I don't. So so with camping in Denmark, what are kind of like your go-to places to camp? Are you doing more wild camping? Are you doing campgrounds? Are you doing specific like trail camping? Kind of what is your go-to and kind of why?
We have made a camp at Christian's dad's forest, but
private forest.
we mostly use that in the winter period, like in fall and winter, when we for example, bring the hot tent. But we have some places we revisit, but also try to go for new places. What was the place we went last? What's it called? Inøen, the Indian island.
Hell-E, Staksrode. There are several places in Denmark where you can pitch a tent in the forest, in the state-owned forests, off of the paths. And usually we find those forests and combine it with a fireplace, a public fireplace. So it's not necessarily a campground, but it's a fireplace in a free-to-use forest. That way we will have as much of as few people bothering us, to be honest, or as few people to share the place with.
Yeah, I discovered kind of a motto for this summer: the shorter the trail, the stupider the people.
Yep.
So, or the easier the trail, the stupider the people. Yeah, I completely. That is a universal term, apparently. But so you basically have public fireplaces that aren't necessarily like a campsite.
Yeah.
So unlike many other places in like Europe, and especially like compared to Sweden, where you have like all forests are like everyone can go into the forest. So in Denmark, there's a lot of restrictions on like where you can actually camp. So there's the state-owned forests where you're allowed to. There's certain zones that's allowed for free tenting, or you're allowed to set up anywhere in like certain areas. And then we got like designated campgrounds, and I used the term campground very freely because it's usually just a set where there is a designated fireplace, and then you're allowed to camp in the vicinity. So that's usually the only places you're allowed to go camping. So it's very restrictive. You have to go to certain areas where you can actually set up your hammock.
It's another place where the benefit of being hammock camping is most outdoor people in Denmark really go for the wooden structures, the shelters, wooden shelters. So those will be booked in advance if possible online, or frequently used when it's closer to bigger cities or popular nature places and areas. And going for these free to roam forests really allows us to create our own camp off the ground, bothering nobody, and we always pack out more trash than we bring in.
So you would be doing a lot of just like primitive camping. You don't have like electricity. So okay. Are there, as far as like campgrounds, I guess the best connection over here is you kind of have like corporate campgrounds, kind of like here we have KOAs or Jellystones or stuff like that. Is that kind of a thing in Denmark, or no? Is it just more of like your state-owned forests that kind of have the shelters, but also have the ability to camp in hammocks?
There's commercially campgrounds, if you can call it that. Of course, people usually don't use that because being in the hammock state of mind or tenting, usually people will go there with automobiles or camper vans, bigger tents, staying for a certain amount of time. They're not really located on trails often.
Okay.
Or near trails, but there's of course a few of them that are put in nice, beautiful places, which allows overnight camping in tents for hikers. But they're really geared towards the car camping people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
what we do is primitive camping. Yeah, the three of us.
Yeah, the what we call campingpladser is more like a textbook Danish family vacation activity. So you go there, you pitch your tent, you cook some sausages, eat some kartoffelsalat, potato salad, and then you play cards for a week, and then you go back.
Sounds like a lot of sausage, potatoes, and cards.
You're missing out, AJ. Don't mock it till you tried it. You heard it here first.
So now I do remember it's a conversation that I had about camping in some of the state forests. Like you could set up your hammock, but there was some like restrictions on setting a tarp over your hammock. Talk about that. What's that all about?
Oh, this could get ugly. It's a gray area. It's a gray zone. I believe the specific rules are you can bivouac. You can put up a tarp less than half a meter above the ground. You can sleep under the stars in every kind of forest, non-private.
Oh, okay.
So if you have a state forest and it's not a free to roam area, but still a state forest, you're allowed to sleep under the stars, as well as on the beaches. But you're not allowed to pitch a tent or hang your hammock. That's where people say, if you hang a hammock, is it a tent? Is it closer related to bivouacking? I mean, what is it really? But then if you put a tarp over it, it becomes a tent.
Gotcha. So is there a lot of people that just do that, but just go without the tarp?
No, it's Denmark.
Okay.
It's wet.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was like, that sounds like playing with fire. So
if you go without a top, you're a masochist.
You never know the weather here.
Well, that's the thing with like Florida too. Like you go and like, oh, I think I'll be fine, and then you wake up to like raindrops at 2 a.m. just some freakish flash storm that's only going to last maybe 2 minutes, but if you don't put it up, you're going to get soaked, and your gear is going to get soaked. So outside of Denmark, you guys camp a lot in Sweden, or Germany is like really, really close. What are some other countries that you guys go to?
I mean, I just went to Sweden, where there's the Allemansrätt, the freedom to roam everywhere. If you're not in line of sight from my house, I believe you can stay everywhere for one night. And
that's like public or private? Doesn't really matter.
I believe it has to be public, but don't quote me on that.
As long as they can't see you, no one will know, right?
I mean, rules are for the masses.
Gotcha.
But it really, they have the same rules in Norway, where I've been to, but that's been intending because of the high altitude. They got hardly any trees once you get up there. But it makes for beautiful campgrounds, real wild camping, closer to nature. And Denmark is just a tiny country compared to Sweden and Norway. So the vast forests they got in Sweden really allows for beautiful camps.
I think it's also worth mentioning, like, as Nils said, Denmark is such a small country. Like, there's nothing left to kind of explore. Of course, there's some small forests you haven't been to, but usually in Denmark, if you go into nature, there's going to be a trail. And along those trails, there are going to be campgrounds, at least 9 out of 10 times. Compared to Sweden, there's just forests that are like 100 times the size of what we have here in Denmark. So it's a lot easier to get away from the trail, kind of find a place to set up camp, and like don't be a nuisance. Like, you're not going to be spotted. Like, compared to Denmark, if you go to a forest, it's actually a challenge to go be unseen, because there's going to be trails mostly everywhere. And if you go 100 meters, or like if you need to break the line of sight, it also kind of comes into like a lot of the colors we use. It's kind of to blend in, because we're not allowed to be spotted in the same way. So we also always try to remain unseen. Compared to Sweden, you can basically just go 100 meters in any direction in a forest, and you're kind of hidden away.
Gotcha. I would say that's probably one of the bigger things that I noticed at HangCon Europe was the lack of color diversity in gear. And I know that we had talked about this before, just like the ability to get stuff from the States, or some of the color options that some of your cottage industries have access to, or at least produce, is a lot more limited. But that totally makes more sense if you're doing more camping where you don't want to be seen. You're not going to have a neon yellow tarp. It's not going to really blend in. And I think you're seeing you definitely in the States, you have kind of that faction of people that do a lot of the I don't want to be seen, do the stealth camping, that really like the camos and kind of like the camouflage. But you also have a huge faction on the other end. And I think this faction has kind of grown over the years. I would say a lot bigger than, when I first started hammock camping, but having a lot of those brighter colors, tons of printed tarps and printed hammocks and printed quilts that are anything but your traditional camo, that like mill camo, or even some of the crazy artistic camos that they've got, the Pyram, I believe, or the Hex Cam, a lot of those like really psychedelic camos. I don't know necessarily. I'm not a visual scientist when it comes to camos, but it just doesn't seem like that they would naturally blend in like some of the other ones would. But yeah. But I would. You mentioned Norway as well. That was kind of another European country that I didn't think that I would have as much interest in. But being a mountain person myself, like seeing some of the pictures that I've seen from a lot of my Danish friends now, it just seems like incredible, like an incredible place to go camping.
Yeah, it really is. But as Nils said, the problem is when you cross around around 1,000 miles, like up in Norway, you start losing trees. They just go thinner and thinner and thinner, and you'll end up looking like that guy from HangCon. We all know who it is.
Yeah. It's like, oh, friend, that's not going to work out for you. But I mean, that would be
fun.
But I think that would maybe reiterate kind of the need for like a hammock stand, like a lightweight hammock stand. If you were doing a lot of the primitive camping, like you said, trying to get away from the crowds. I would say that's kind of been the blessing, the curse of some of our national parks in the States, where like, yeah, I would love to say, oh, you really need to see Yosemite, you really need to see Yellowstone, you really need to see Acadia, and da. But if you go to some of those bigger, well-named national parks out here, they're just parking lots, and the more people, the more opportunities you have to meet stupid people. And by the end of the trip, you're rooting for the grizzly bears. You're just like, come on, Mother Nature, just make it happen. I'll never forget. We were in Glacier, and we finally saw a grizzly bear on the side of the road. It was probably a good 200 yards away, so not necessarily close. But there was a guy getting out of his truck, trying to like walk up to the grizzly and like take pictures. And by that point, you're just like, come on, Mother Nature. It's like, I don't think you realize just how fast that grizzly bear can cover that 200 yards before your skinny butt gets back in your truck.
Here's your Darwin Award.
Yeah, right. Here's your sign. You're not going to make it. Murphy's Law. Oh, but so we met at the Danish Outdoor Festival. Had you all been to this festival before, or was this your first year?
I was a virgin.
They do a similar outdoor festival in Jutland, the peninsula that we are all based off, that we went to last summer, and we're going this. I believe it's late August. It's running again. We'll be there. But it was the first time we attended the Danish Outdoor Festival in Jyllinge in Sjælland, on Sjælland. And you guys were really the big factor of us getting over there. The American delegation, the chance to talk to you guys and really supporting the Danish hammock scene that is really growing rapidly these years.
Yeah, we were really happy to see just the welcoming that we got, and meeting the 8 or 9 people from Denmark that listen to our podcast, and and it was just mind blowing to me that people from the other side of the pond are listening to some idiots in the States talk about swinging into the trees. But no, it was really, really cool. Just seeing how different the hammock camping world is, but also seeing just how exactly the same that it is. I would say my favorite night of the entire trip was us sitting in the middle of the road around just kind of like, I don't know, it wasn't even a lantern. It was just kind of like this light, because we couldn't have campfires, which was the biggest bub of like I was like, oh, a campfire would have been the only thing. And, we had, people from all over Denmark there. We had and I'm forgetting his name right now, but the guy from Tensile from the UK, just sitting around, just shooting the crap, like talking about just life in general, like absolutely no different than what we would do in the States. We were drinking random things out of cups and bottles, and stuff was being passed around. Again, the exact same thing that it would happen here at a lot of our hangs, especially at HangCon, and just the community. Some of the languages were different. Some of the words definitely were different, but it was so familiar in such a comforting way. And I think for a lot of our American listeners that may be interested in going to the Danish Outdoor Festival or HangCon Europe next year, I think because of a lot of Americans do not have the scope of international travel, for us, I think one of the major things is, oh, well, will I be able to understand people? Because that was for me as well. But just the transition to English was also a big factor for me in enjoying that experience as well. But I'm pretty open to challenges as well. I know we went to the supermarket. Well, I wouldn't say supermarket. I would say market. It was significantly smaller than the supermarkets we have in the United States, but it was a cool yet humbling experience too. Walking in and go, I have no idea what any of the, I see Coke, I see Nestle, but the rest of the stuff, I have no idea what it is.
Fruits. What's this?
Google Translate was amazing. It was not like we went to the cafe that was by the train station there, and we would just scan and just go like, oh, like that was easy. But just in talking with people, English was a very just well spoken, easily transferable, and it wasn't like I guess from the standpoint, you go in and you have someone speaking Danish, and you're just like, English, and they just automatically, oh, da 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 da, and you can understand that it wasn't like, oh, you peasants, oh, you're not real, you're just tourists, and kind of like that snobby. Like, I never felt that at all, and that was kind of another really great thing for us to experience as well. Even in the city, it was just a quick transition. So, now you guys have floated the possibility, and hopefully just by speaking it into existence, that you all will be making the journey across the creek to join us for HangCon, the OG HangCon in January. Is there anything, or what are some things that you guys are excited about or curious about as far as making that journey?
It's still a real possibility, yeah. For at least 2 of us. I might be going with my girlfriend as well, making it a complete trip. I'm just looking forward to meeting several vendors. The vast majority of the vast size difference from Danish Outdoor Festival and the HangCon Europe. I know you guys spoke of it's at least doubled in size.
Mm-hmm.
Talking sleeping, overnight staying visitors. And I mean, Florida is a better place to be than Denmark in January.
Apparently, it's a lot better place than most of the United States as well. But it does get cold now. That's something that a lot of our people that are from the northern United States think, oh, well, it's Florida. It's going to be 70 degrees all year round. And, oh, well, 60 is the same 60 here. No. It's 60. We're bundled up. It's, again, that going back to that humidity. That humidity makes things feel significantly worse than, I guess, if you're in a drier temperature. But yeah, it's really cool to kind of meet vendors and I know we had talked about, are you checking an extra bag back over than what you came in? Are you bringing like a bag that you can just slowly weasel pack away and random gear that you may acquire?
Why bring a setup if you can buy it?
Right.
Agreed.
I was telling a few people when I was over there, I think I may have had 3 or 4 people offer to just buy my hammock setup right then and there. And it's like, no, I mean, maybe, but just because of the taxes and the customs charges that you guys get. But yeah, if you come over and you don't have to do that, it almost pays for itself.
It does.
Why bring American gear to America when you can just buy it over there, bring it home?
Right.
Yeah, why all the extra charges? Just then
it's almost like if you buy enough, you're paying yourself.
Agreed. And again, the experiences
that's one of the
you get.
holes, right?
Danish tax customs listening to this conversation. This is all hypothetically speaking. We of course do not intend to do that.
I will say, just the flight that I took to California a couple of weeks ago, I specifically said I want to do this flight with only a personal item and a carry-on. If I don't have to do a check bag, that made the trip significantly better. In fact, when Lord will, as we say in the States, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, when I come back over to Denmark next year, I am packing significantly different than I did this trip. Seeing all of us lug out 1 or 2 full-size check bag luggage out of like the mud and stuff, like, I wish someone had got a picture of it. It was I think my wife did. I'm getting the look of, I totally took a picture of this. Maybe we'll post that up. But just like having everything on a backpack that I can just throw on, and even a carry, it was kind of a game changer. I guess the only thing that you have to, if I don't have a check bag, the only thing that I would kind of sort of need would be the fuel, because I mean, if you're cooking and stuff like that, and tent stakes, ironically. So, I mean that's the only thing that I can think of that you can't travel with if you don't have a check bag. But other than that, you're good to go.
Nail clippers and
sadly can't
knives.
Come. But I'm that's where I'm graduating school that week, so I sadly cannot go. But I'm counting on these 2 guys to hypothetically.
I'm sure they won't rub it in your face at all.
No, I doubt that.
You can have a single item if you pay for the bag.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
See, AJ,
we
this
will
is
rent
what I'm
out
dealing
a
with.
certain section of this check bag if you kind of man, yeah, check bags are also a pretty penny as well. But yeah, I would suggest. I know you're like having an extra bag for extra dirty clothes when you go back across. It's just clothing. It's just yeah. But yeah, the having not have to worry about the check bag was I definitely won't be bringing the amount of gear next year as I brought this year. I say that now, but in reality,
you say that now, but you're probably also bringing more stuff to display or some team up with more vendors. We hope.
I hope to bring more just actual vendors, not me packing them in my suitcase, but bringing over actual vendors. And talking with Christian and Lars, I guess there's going to be quite a significant Danish invasion of HangCon this year, which I am all about. When we were packing up and to leave, he's like, are you okay with like bringing like only like 20 or 40 people coming over, or like can I just bring anybody that wants? I was like, bring them on over. Like it's going to be great. We're really excited. Hopefully, I know a lot of people have reached out to when ticket sales are and registration. We're in the process of redoing our website and changing a few other things of how we do registration and stuff. So hopefully, at the very latest, it will be open for registration Labor Day. So hopefully that'll be, which is for us, it's the first weekend in September. Yes.
All right.
I think around the beginning of September. But there's plenty of things going on for that, and a lot of other really good and interesting things coming down the pike as well for HangCon. So, but yeah, we're really excited about having you guys over, and Envy, you graduate and you do your thing, and there's always next year. There's the following year. Hopefully.
There is, and I'll be making more money to
there you go.
fund my addiction.
More money, more problems.
Oh, more money, more hammocks, but yeah,
Yes, they say.
More hammocks, less money.
Yeah.
He has more opportunities to make his own poor financial decisions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Lordy. But
I'm aspiring to be like you.
Take the compliment.
I don't know if that's a good life goal. Oh, me. So yeah, I'm excited about coming back over, seeing some different things, meeting old friends, meeting new people as well. I definitely have after HangCon Europe. My Facebook was immediately flooded with a lot of these names that I could not pronounce, but I was like, oh, okay, I can't pronounce. Oh, they're from Denmark. Okay, click. So I'm meeting a lot of people, and yeah. So, but that's gonna kind of wrap it up. I kind of want to thank you guys again for your hospitality over there. I couldn't thank you guys enough for making it feel very much like home. I appreciate our friendship. I know we've talked numerous times between when we left and today. So I thank you guys for that. And I look forward to continuing to hear up on you guys' adventures. Any adventures that you guys have planned up?
It's going to be a late summer hike for the four people of us, definitely coming up. It's still in the works, though.
Okay.
Again, there's been at least a couple of weeks since we last been, so we need to show off all of our new gear because there's going to be some new gear.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, man. Let's talk about some new gear. So, what do you got?
I'm still spill the beans first. I'm still waiting for Corey to answer me. My majestic hammock is waiting. I just need him to tell it's made. Send it, please.
You hear that, Corey? You got an eager customer.
I ripped my Warbonded mini fly on my trip to Sweden, so there will be something new in the mail soon.
Oh, so all right. So is it a rip that like it's non-salvageable?
Of course, it's salvageable, but it's an excuse. I mean,
I do like the mini fly. I do really like the 3/4 doors. Is the mini fly, the thunder fly, and the mountain fly. I think I do have a mini fly. I do have a thunder fly. I don't think I've got a mountain fly, but yeah, if you own a Tensa 4 hammock stand, in my opinion, the War Bonnet Mini Fly is hands down the best tarp for that specific hammock stand. So
those small doors really makes up for the 11 feet ridge line for the coverage. I mean, I've been in some nasty weather with that thing.
Yeah, and with also you have the less weight than the full doors as well. So, but yeah. All right. So,
the Renaissance back to gathered end hammocks. Ooh, and got a War Bonnet El Dorado.
Oh, okay.
Also,
That is a hammock that I have never owned.
It's what I've been told, just like the Blackbird, but without that sack on the side.
The shelf? Yeah.
Yeah. And I got my first down quilt, so I'm deep down the rabbit hole now.
So which quilt did you get?
It's the Cumulus 450 Tiger 450 large.
Okay.
And it's hot as hell. It's
so,
toasty.
It's a winter one. Come on.
If we're spilling the beans on gear, so my newest addition that I have not had the chance to use yet, I got a 40-degree War Bonnet Diamondback top quilt. So
nice.
Really been wanting one of those Diamondbacks, and it's a 40-degree, but it has a sewn foot box, not one of the cinch stuff that you got to put the draft plug in. Like it's sewn in, which is kind of my personal preference as far as quilts and stuff go. But
you'll need to write a small gear review on that.
I would. Like I did the video for my Loco Libre top quilt, and which I absolutely love. And for a lot of the same ways, I looked at the Diamondback just because of the cool little the baffles in the center kind of look like a Diamondback of a Diamondback rattlesnake, and yeah, I'm excited about using that one. Really, really excited about using that one. So, all right.
This is like being at an AA meeting. Hello. My name is Niels.
Please share your latest purchase.
I have a problem.
And then we all go, thank you for sharing.
Oh, me. So,
I know we all appreciate the opportunity to be on here with you in the podcast. So big thanks to you and Paul, really.
Yeah, Paul being like stupid busy with his job right now. So, but yeah, he gives me the opportunity to chat with people without Paul chiming in and telling me to shut up. I do what I want.
AJ, move on, please, now.
I'm going to eat pork rinds, and I'm going to have myself a 42-ounce Slurpee. I'm just going to the whole time. He just has to edit it, so it's fine.
Sounds like a whole problem.
Right. That sounds like an ish you, not an ish me. So, yeah. Oh, Lordy. All right, everybody. Well, this is going to do it for this week. We appreciate our Danish Amigos joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing them at HangCon and at the Danish Outdoor Festival as well. If you've liked what you've heard today, please find us on social media. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Just search for the Hammock Hangers Podcast. And if you would like to help spread this podcast to others and really help us get the message about how hammock camping really is living your best life, like and subscribe to our YouTube page, as well as leave our podcast a review in whatever podcast format that you listen to, either Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or other podcast app. and hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Thank you again for our guests. And until next time, happy hanging, everybody.
As we gently sway out of another Hammock Field episode, we want to thank you, our wonderful listeners, for hanging out with us on the Hammock Hangers podcast. We hope that you have found relaxation, inspiration, and a renewed sense of connection to nature through our discussions. Remember to keep that hammock spirit alive in your daily life, whether it's by taking a few moments to unwind in your own backyard oasis or by planning your next hammock adventure in the great outdoors. Embracing the tranquility, embracing the simplicity, and never forget the joy that comes from simply hanging around. Before we part ways, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date with all things hammock related. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for the Hammock Hangers Podcast. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to hang with you again on our next episode. Until then, stay relaxed, stay adventurous, and keep on hanging those hammocks high. From all of us here at the Hammock Hangers Podcast, we wish you peaceful hangs and endless relaxation. Thank you for tuning in. Happy hanging, everyone.